Hello, this is a webinar to introduce you to the Green Building Registry for the NorthstarMLS subscribers. This is a new member benefit. This webinar is approximately 1 hour. The learning objectives we will cover during this series is what is the Green Building Registry? What is building performance data? Why does this matter? How to auto-populate this data into your listings, and how to use it as part of your business. So congratulations on having this new subscriber benefit with a data service from the Green Building Registry. The Green Building Registry is the largest single source of building performance data in the United States. We operate a public-facing website at us.greenbuildingregistry.com. And the NorthstarMLS has partnered with Earth Advantage to provide you easy access to this building performance data for your real estate listings. Using this data as part of your real estate business helps provide a more holistic view of your market, increases transparency, and helps sellers obtain proper value through market reaction, and help buyers make a more informed purchase decision. So this is a matrix of the different data types that are included in the Green Building Registry. We have building certification and energy rating data from national and regional programs. We will get to the specific data in your market area in just a moment. And we're all about transparency with this data. Our goal is to make this data accessible to the marketplace and easily verifiable. We partner directly with the green verification or building certification programs. So this data is originally sourced and coming direct from these programs. They require trained and certified third-party building science professionals to collect the information about these properties. The data goes through a quality assurance and verification program by each of the entities. And when we bring the data into the Green Building Registry, it goes through an address verification and normalization process. All of the data is available using the Real Estate Data Standards fields published by RESO, the Real Estate Standards Organization. We do not accept homeowner reported data at this time because this information is used for valuation as part of the real estate transaction and lending purposes. Needing that arm's length is really important, and there's specific data components and knowledge needed by that trained and certified third-party professional to make sure that the information being collected is accurate about that property. And all of the data is available for use for this particular purpose. So the Green Building Registry is really focused on market transformation by helping to ensure that home performance data is in all real estate listings. Because currently most homeowners, buyers, and renters have insufficient information about how their home uses energy and what factors contribute to poor energy performance, high energy costs, and high carbon emissions. But using this data, we can all work to change that now. So let's define this data. You've likely heard the term green data. It's a catch-all phrase that's really a big umbrella of different types of data. If we're not specific, it can cause confusion and contribute to greenwashing. Greenwashing is the overstatement of a property's, environmentally friendly or sustainability features. So what I'm going to talk about today and the data that we're referring to is specifically performance data. This is building certification and energy rating data, and there is some solar photovoltaic installation data in your marketplace now as well. And this data is readily available, and it provides a new opportunity for you to include this data as part of your real estate business. So let's look at this another way. You're likely familiar with what a home inspection is. A home inspection is focused on, the condition and safety of a property. And home performance data is very similar. It's looking at the condition of the equipment. A lot of times safety considerations come into play here with indoor air quality, but it's looking at how all aspects of the home are working together as one comprehensive system. And it's really focused on, with that energy efficiency lens. When this gets evaluated, a label is generated on that particular property. And this is really important because a lot of times what goes into making a property more energy efficient and healthier and better indoor air quality is really in the insulation and air sealing and what's behind the walls and equipment. So having this label, it includes that documentation. You might be accustomed to like the USDA organic label or the sustainable forest label, nutrition facts, the energy guide that is now prominent on most equipment and appliances that you buy today. So this provides that verification, that documentation that this property is different, and here's the information about it. So more energy efficient homes can provide occupants with improved comfort, safety, lower utility bills. And at the end of the day, it's more objective data that's readily available about a property and should be included as part of the real estate transaction process. And the Green Building Registry includes residential data. Most of the data is residential data, but we also have multifamily and commercial data as well. So what does this data mean for a property? I started to talk about that a little bit in the last slide. But a home that is more energy efficient, or often referred to as a higher performing home or a high performance home, it does provide improved comfort, safety, and lower utility bills for the occupants. But using this data helps support streamlined marketing of the property. It enhances the marketing opportunities, enabling you as a real estate professional to effectively communicate the unique selling points that these properties have. And through all of this, it helps build trust. Transparency builds trust. By including this data, you have the ability to foster that transparency, building greater trust with both sellers and buyers in every transaction. So what data is available in your marketplace? This is a screenshot from the GBR public website, and it's dots of all of the available properties with data in Minnesota. There are over 92,000 properties, almost 93,000 properties that have this data readily available on them today in Minnesota. At the bottom of the screen, we have a breakout of the different building certification programs that there is data for in the Green Building Registry, along with counts. So you can see that the Home Energy Rating System, also referred to as HERS, this is going to be the largest bucket of data. There is a mandatory program in Minneapolis. So there's 16,000 properties, unique properties that have this time of sale energy score available on them today. And then Energy Star certified new construction, over 24,000 properties, homes. And then for commercial data, we have the Energy Star certified buildings, as well as some LEED properties as well. And then LEED for homes and Energy Star may also include some multifamily properties as well. So in Wisconsin, which is another state that your MLS has data coverage for, there are fewer properties, but you can see the geographic distribution of this data. So, really recognizing that this information does exist in most areas throughout your MLS service area. So it's important as we get into looking at this data in your MLS that you become familiar with these different programs that are available in your marketplace. So what data components are available? So we are focused on providing this data consistent with real estate industry standards. So GBR was built using the data standards built by the real estate industry. So these here are the for a certification or energy rating. It's called the Property Green Verification Data Set. And then for renewables or solar installation data, it's called the Property Power Production Resource Set of Fields. So these fields were designed to make sure that the data components provided in a real estate listing are consistent with the needs of the downstream effect as well for the appraisal industry and then the mortgage finance industry as well. So most of this data exists because a builder chose to build a more energy efficient or a higher performing home. So that is going to be the largest chunk of data that you're going to see is from new construction properties. But as I mentioned earlier, in Minneapolis and also Bloomington, there is a mandatory energy labeling requirement at time of sale. So this is called the Time of Sale Energy Score program. So we do have the data from Minneapolis available in the Green Building Registry, and we are working with the team for the Center for Energy and Environment, as well as the City of Bloomington, to also add that data into the Green Building Registry. So when that becomes available, we will let the team at the NorthstarMLS know so that they can inform you that this information is available as well. So you can see the type of information that's available here. So the verification type, that's going to be sort of the name of the program. And then the entity is sort of the body that's behind that particular program. So the Center for Energy and Environment is administering this particular program. We do provide the specific date of certification on our public-facing website, and then information on how this property scored. So you might see a numeric value here, or you might see a rating value, which I'll show you what that looks like in a moment. But understanding what these numbers and information means is really important. So we'll get into that a little bit more as well. So the source of the data comes from the city of Minneapolis because this is their specific program. And sometimes there is a unique identifier on this specific certification record that the program provides. So that might be available here in a verification key. And then there's also the year verified, which was what will go into your listings. We also have a partnership with the Appraisal Institute to provide a pre-filled residential and energy efficient addendum, which I'll talk about a little bit more. So what I'm going to show you on these next few slides are screenshots from our public-facing website to give you an idea of what the data is and what it looks like. And then I'll get into specifically how this looks in your Edit MLS system. So as I mentioned earlier, the value is derived, first off from having access to this data, but then secondarily, and most importantly, is understanding what this information means about a property. So as you saw on the last screen, there was a download report button. So when you do have that green verification URL available in a listing, you really want to look at that report, and that's going to give you some great insight into this property. So this specific one is for the time of sale energy score in Minneapolis. So this is going to provide you the score that you can see here on the screen, and it indicates how energy efficient this specific property is, because the context around this data is really important. So you can see on this image that they provide here that an efficient house is going to score a 93 out of 100 points, and an inefficient home is going to be in this darker blue area. So this specific property scored a 39. So it is at the more efficient end of an inefficient home. So what this means is that there are opportunities for improvement to make this home more energy efficient. And that's the additional information that you're going to see on this report. So it provides recommendations for improving wall insulation, updates to the heating system, attic insulation, storm windows. Don't have specific recommendations here. But on page 2 of the report, you're going to see some additional detail and the impact that it's going to have on improving this particular home score, which will result in improved comfort, health, and energy reduction measures on that particular property. So, the data is really good, but digging into the additional information and understanding what this information means and the opportunities it provides is really, really important here. And you can see on this particular report, they're also able to provide cost estimates for making these improvements, as well as incentives that may be available to help with these updates, and then anticipated savings for making these updates. So there's a lot of great information here. If a seller is looking to make updates to their property before they list it, and or for a buyer who it helps them make a more informed decision as well. So here's an example of another property in Minneapolis that has 4 different building certifications associated with it. And I highlight this one because you can see on these HERS homes, there is also a report available here. So let's take a look at what this HERS report provides you to the marketplace. So this one's a little bit different. So that time of sale energy report is a result of a mandatory program. So that's required on any property listed for sale in Minneapolis. So that's going to have a wide coverage of the existing homes, which is fantastic. The HERS data is generally obtained at the time of new construction. So some of these might be have happened recently, like this was certified in February of 2023. The HERS data goes back to mid-2012, so some of that data might be older. So knowing when the assessment took place is also a really important component, because as these data elements age, unless there have been improvements to the home, there may be homes that have newer certifications that are going to be more efficient, even than those that were built better when they were built. But if that was 5 or 10 years ago, as building codes change, these program requirements change as well, so that they're always going to be accounted for above code in their efficiency measures. So let's take a look at this HERS report and evaluate the data that's available here. So one of the things you're going to notice is that in the top right corner, this has a annual estimated energy cost. So this is really great information. This is not utility bill data, but it is based on the assets of that particular property and normal living situation. So there is a national standard used to do this calculation here. So you're going to see that this property, which scored a HERS rating of a 49, so you can see that on this HERS scale, a higher score is going to use more energy, and a lower score is going to use less energy. So this home scored a 49, so it is, a better, we will call it a more energy efficient home, because it is scoring on the lower end to be more energy efficient for this HERS score. So having this estimated annual energy costs helps that buyer take into consideration their own financial circumstances beyond just, what is my, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance going to cost me. They can now factor in approximate energy costs, annual energy costs, into their decision-making process by having this data. It also indicates the type of energy used in that home and then approximately how much of each, again, under those modeled normal living scenarios. And we're always using the most current energy rate. So anytime you have a report, it's fine if you want to download that PDF, but make sure you're always using that green verification URL, because as energy rates change, these estimated annual energy costs are also going to change. Those get updated as those rates change to reflect the most current information. Okay, and as I mentioned earlier, we have a partnership with the Appraisal Institute. So for your appraiser users, or if you are an appraiser, this document is currently available on the Green Building Registry public website. So you're going to see here, this document is pre-filled with the different green certifications and energy label data that are associated with this property. If there is solar data, that's also included in that appropriate section on a page 2 of this document. So if you are listing a property that has this data available, it might be a great idea to hop over to the Green Building Registry and download this document to attach it to your listing as well. So you can see this particular property had that EPA Energy Star rating. It had the LEED Platinum rating, and it had a Green Star Home certification, which was at the gold level, and it had that HERS rating of a -9. So great information to pass along to the appraisers as well. So that's kind of a high level introduction to the data components that are available to you. So why does any of this matter? We know that a well-functioning real estate market requires that the assets of a home be recognized by buyers and accurately valued by appraisal and lending professionals. And we know that historically, most of this time, this information is not getting into listings to be accounted for in the real estate transaction process. And the impact of that is that, potentially for a seller with a high efficient home or high performing home, thousands of dollars of value could be lost because this trustworthy objective data was not available to the listing agent and subsequently the appraiser and the lending to react to at the time of sale. With these energy cost estimates, it helps provide that opportunity and insight into the true cost of ownership or total cost of ownership to help buyers make a more informed purchase decision. And also with this data, it helps unlock green mortgage products that may be available in your marketplace. And sometimes these have more favorable terms associated with them as well. So as affordability continues to be a challenge for many, this information helps look at affordability in a different way and may unlock new opportunities. We know from the National Association of Realtors 2023 Realtors and Sustainability Report for the residential marketplace that real estate professionals feel that there's value in including this information in listings, 63% actually. And then also it showed that, about 48%, about half of their clients were at least somewhat interested in sustainability. So now that you have easy access to the data, you have the opportunity to unlock this opportunity for your marketplace. And that's really important because on NAR's Realtors and Sustainability Report from 2023, we know that agents feel that the promotion and listings is really important. However, 59% of these agents didn't know if their MLS has these data fields to support this information, and about half didn't use them. So with this data opportunity, you now can, make these 100% if you wish. So it's great that you now have easy access to this data. Consumer demand is another big reason of why this information matters. This is from the 2021 NAR's Homebuyer and Seller Generational Trends Report. But that it indicated, sorry, this is the National Association of Home Builders, that the majority of buyers prefer to go green when provided the option. So if this, including this data in listings, helps provide that option to the marketplace as well. And then this is the Home Buyers and Sellers Generational Trend Report published in 2023. So you can see that a lot of property features that buyers are consider very important, heating and cooling costs, energy efficient appliances, environmentally friendly community features, windows, doors, and siding, energy efficient lighting, maybe solar panels, landscaping for energy conservation. So all of the age groups, had interest and thought these things were very important. And these are the different types of property features that go into those building certifications and energy ratings. Another thing that we're all likely aware of is, our changing weather patterns. The NOAA publishes a report every year of the billion-dollar weather and climate disasters. So one of the things that you can see quite visibly here is that there's a lot happening in the middle of the country now. Prior years, it seemed to be more West Coast and a little bit on the East Coast. But 2023, there was a lot happening in the middle of the country. So buildings, homes that are higher performing and were built to that higher standard are oftentimes going to be more resilient against extreme weather events. So that also helps to paint the picture about the importance of this information being available on listings as well. And then, as I mentioned earlier, there's already a couple of mandatory disclosure policies in Minneapolis and Bloomington. And, these are becoming more prevalent throughout the country as well. So they are often met with resistance from the real estate community, which I understand because it's change, but the information that these programs provide about a property to the marketplace is really important. And hopefully, as you gain familiarity and become more comfortable with using this data as part of your real estate business, you will come to quickly recognize the benefits of having this data available as well. So let's get into auto-populating this data into listings. So the NorthstarMLS has a connection to the Green Building Registry database so that we're able to offer this data auto-population opportunity in your for your listings. I would suggest that you, if you're doing general property research, you visit the Green Building Registry public-facing website, which I've linked a little bit later in this document again as well. But as you're going through your ad edit process, you're going to come to this section that highlights, green building, which is sort of general marketing opportunities. The green building verifications, so these are these building certifications and energy ratings that we were just talking about. And then if there is solar panels on the property to generate power, we did see from looking at the data sets in Minnesota and Wisconsin, there isn't much of that data available today. We are continuing to work to try and unlock more of that data. But these are the two sections in your ad edit system where you will be able to auto-populate this data into the listings. So what does that look like? So you're going to see there's a little green leaf on this green building verification bar, and you're going to click that to initiate the lookup. So as I mentioned and we saw earlier, not every property has this data available, but for those that do, it's really important that it be added to your listings and added in a way that's consistent with the data needs, not only to help market this property, but for the appraisal and lending as well. So when you click that button, it's going to initiate a call to our database. You're going to see the property address that you've already entered for this listing. And this is what's going to check in our system to see for this Harriet Ave property, is there data available to auto-populate? Well, in this specific property, there is no records available to add. So in this case, you just hit cancel and move on with your add edit process. But when there is data available, you're going to see a pop-up screen that shows you what data is available on this. So this particular property has three. It has a lead for homes, a green star, and a HERS rating. So you're going to see that data available here. If you want to auto-populate this data into your listings, which I would strongly encourage, you're going to hit this insert into listing. If you do not wish to, for one reason or another, you can hit cancel, but I would strongly encourage you to insert into listing. And then you're going to see this data populated in your ad edit system. So you have the opportunity to review it. If for some reason, you want to change something, again, I would use a little bit of caution with that edit functionality, but it does exist. You have the ability to do so once the data is in your listings. And you can see that all of the data is sourced as well. So if you do make changes to the data that you're going to see, you should change this source field as well, because all of that data then is not coming specifically from a third-party system. So here is just the rest of the data filled out for this property that has three different types. And then if there is solar data, that will get populated down in the Green Building Power Production section as well. So what is in it for you? Like, how do you market this opportunity as part of your real estate business? So it's really an opportunity for you to bring new value into your real estate business. And there's never been a better time to sharpen your value proposition for your clients. So understanding how to work with this data will provide you with that new value. Knowing that these properties are different and this information doesn't exist on all of them. So using it to help your seller get the appropriate return on investment if they have a higher performing home or have made updates is really important. It's also the ability for you to deliver additional objective data to the market to help combat bias in appraisals. It supports reducing greenwashing, as I mentioned. This third-party verified data that you're using helps reduce that liability concern by overstating or misstating this information about a property. As I just mentioned, all of this data includes a source field. So that's really important for us and for you about transparency and identification where this data comes from, right? So do your green check. If you are doing property research, because this data is set up to auto-populate into listings, if you are want to research a neighborhood, if you're going to go on a listing appointment, go to the public-facing website. It's free. It's open to anybody. And research. Pull up that property address. You can search nearby to get a sense of what other properties in the neighborhood have this data available. So use it in preparation for engaging with your clients, whether it be on the listing or buying side. So specifically for the listing side, again, search the website. You can do that ahead of time before going on your listing appointment to see if it has any of these third-party certifications or energy rating data available or solar installation data. if it does, make sure you ask them about their specific property features that they have that help make that property that specific level that was obtained. And then use that to add to property features and characteristics that you may have available in your ad edit system. Learning about the different programs, the different types of certifications and energy ratings is really where you're going to be able to bring optimal value to your clients, because you're going to understand the value that they provide with the information or in comfort, health, reduced operating costs. Looking at the neighborhood for other properties with documentation, have those transacted recently or not? Again, use it on those listing appointments, ask about the unique features of their certified home and enter that data into the listings. And then use this information to properly price the property. There are studies have shown that properties with these high performing attributes generally sell for more, which makes sense if you think about it, because they are different and a higher performing home uses less energy. So the monthly operating costs are lower as well. There is a tool called PV Value that can be used to help calculate the value of an owned solar system on a property if it has it. Again, there is limited solar data in GBR, but that doesn't mean the property does not have a solar installation data. There's just a lot of privacy issues around solar data right now, which is needs to be resolved before that data can be made publicly available. Talk about the benefits of these properties in the public remarks. Include it in the marketing of the home and in the messaging that you're using. Because getting this data into the listings is really important to have for comparables. The more data that we can get in and gets priced accordingly and the market can react to it, the better those comparables are going to be, as well as for CMAs and appraisal evaluations. If you use a showing service, and this is a more energy efficient property, maybe you want to ask your showing company to include a message about that in appointment reminders, like, hey, this is a higher performing home. Here's 3 benefits of that for you. We look forward to seeing you. Whatever that messaging may be, it's great information to incorporate in your marketing efforts. And be sure to include that green verification URL on your listing so that the buyers can find these homes they're looking for. And it also helps buyers factor sustainability into their living decisions. But as I mentioned, it's important to explain what this information means. Like, tell the story about the benefits that an energy efficient home provides. So I like this quote, don't just put the third-party certification logo on your package, tell the story of why it's there. So, using that public remarks field to explain what this means for an occupant. And this is a marketing matrix that I put together that really kind of identifies different ways that you can consider using this data as part of your marketing practices. So, at the beginning, so we're going to start, it sort of goes from the bottom left to the top right as far as things that you can do now and then things that may be available in the future, starting with education, recognizing what this data is and how to use it, getting it in your listings, so you all are very fortunate because, your MLS has added the data standardized fields to support this information. And then you also have the ability to auto-populate this data in your listings as well. So, you are very well positioned to make inclusion of this information and listings very easy in your marketplace. So if you work on the buying side of things, as you're engaging in conversation about your buyer's wishes, maybe you ask, are there any health concerns? Chances are good that somebody's not going to come out and say, oh, I want a sustainable or I want an energy efficient home. But if there are, respiratory considerations that, are at play or other, medical concerns, understanding that a higher performing, more energy efficient home is likely considered a healthier home, then using that information to help search. This data in listings will help buyers find the homes they're looking for. Again, you can search the public facing website to identify if properties that you're looking at do have this documentation available on them, because it will take time for this data to get into listings as this launches in your marketplace. So cross-check what's on the Green Building Registry against the available listing inventory in your marketplace to help your buyers find that information and make that more informed decision process. Learn about those different programs. Again, whether you're on the selling or buying side of things, it's really important to understand the basics about these programs, and then the benefits that they provide. If a property does have this data available, review the reports and certification documents. What is that estimated annual energy costs? Are there any recommended improvements that are included on that report? So all of this is going to help, again, increase that transparency, build trust, and help those buyers make a more informed decision. There are also maybe opportunities, incentive programs available either locally or there are now through the Inflation Reduction Act tax credits available, so that most of our homes in this country are old and they are energy inefficient. So there are now a lot of programs available to help improve the energy efficiency of our properties, not just for health and safety, but because so much gets wasted in drafty properties, and we're spending money needlessly as a result of that on our energy bills. Identify if there's any lenders in your area that are offering green mortgage products. Now that this data will become more readily available and used in your marketplace, it's a great opportunity for you to engage with your lender network about this and identify what opportunities may exist for buyers to utilize a green mortgage product. And then the tax credits available for the Inflation Reduction Act, which is a national opportunity from the federal government. So as I mentioned, about 2/3 of our housing stock was built before there were even any energy codes. And the tax credits are designed to spur further action by homeowners and renters to electrify their home, as well as make improvements to the equipment and appliances to a more energy efficient option when it is time to replace those things. So here's just an example of sort of what some of those opportunities are that are included in the tax credits with the Inflation Reduction Act. So you're learning about local incentive programs that may be available, as well as these federal programs will help you engage, point your clients in the right direction, at least to give them resources. So here's an example of a mortgage opportunity. This was an example from a training that a loan officer did with they were a regional lender, and they built this comparison table to show, in this example, a borrower financed $5,500 in energy efficiency improvements in this example at the time of their mortgage origination. So they identified that there were opportunities to improve the energy efficiency of this property, and they rolled that cost into their mortgage. So you can see that the loan payment without the energy improvements was going to be about $1,400 a month. They weren't going to recognize energy savings because they weren't making changes to improve the efficiency of the property. But with that $5,500 in energy efficiency improvements over the life of the loan, that brought the loan payment up to $1,432. They were going to save about $20 a month. So the net on this was, comparable, about the same, $1 less, with their monthly loan payment, including the energy savings. So they ended up with a more energy efficient home and are spending the same or slightly less each month. So this is an example of the impact that a green mortgage opportunity may be able to provide to your buyers and sellers in the marketplace. And it helps that whole affordability equation as well. So let's, as we wrap this up, let's load up your toolbox with some new tools and resources to help you work with and understand this data as part of your business. So there are a number of links here as well. I mentioned some resources that are available in the marketplace. There might be local utility programs, the federal tax credits. There is also an electrification incentives calculator built by a national nonprofit, Rewiring America. I mentioned that PV value calculator if a home has an owned solar system. The federal tax credits. More information is available on energy.gov save website. The National Association of Realtor Sustainability website has a lot of fantastic information about this data. If you're looking to learn more about the Appraisal Institute Residential Green and Energy Efficient Addendum, we have a link to that. Freddie and Fannie's green mortgage products. There's links to more information on those two items as well. And as I mentioned, our public-facing website. You can navigate here at us.greenbuildingregistry.com and do general property searches. You can search by a specific property address, a town, a county. In some areas like Wisconsin, you can do the whole state without running into crashing issues. You can view this information on a map. The search nearby is great if you are trying to get a sense of what other properties in a neighborhood might have this data available on them. You can use the filters which open up under here to filter by property type, the certification type, the date of certification on HERS and home energy score. You can filter by score. So it provides you more tools to evaluate properties and compare them. And then for further learnings and additional resources. So the NAR has a on-demand 1-hour free introduction to sustainability and resiliency, what realtors need to know class. So I strongly encourage anybody to take that. They also offer their green designation, which is a more in-depth course. I believe that was offered somewhat recently in the greater Minneapolis area, but that is a great course to really get a more in-depth knowledge about sort of building science and really what goes into making a home more energy efficient and higher performing. There is also a course that a Green Realtor and NAR Executive Committee member Craig Foley teaches called Selling the Sun. To learn more about the data types, so I suggested you become familiar with the different programs that have data in your marketplace. So we do have a section on our Earth Advantage website that provides a brief introduction, but also include links to the different program types so that you can start your learning journey and learning more about each of the different programs and their certification requirements. If you're looking to learn more about the Green Building Registry, you can go here. And then a white paper I published, the Inflation Reduction Act, 10 key opportunities for the real estate industry. Again, just more ways for you to utilize this information as part of your business as these incentives and opportunities continue to emerge in the marketplace. I will point out that it's important to have at least a basic understanding of what this information is and how to use it as part of your real estate business. And if you are a member of NAR, it is required as part of your code of ethics to be knowledgeable and competent about the properties you are representing. So, using some of these resources to continue your learning journey is going to be a very good thing for you to do. And then as I wrap up here, a little bit more about Earth Advantage, which is the parent company of the Green Building Registry. We are a national nonprofit organization that we're working to help advance a more informed and humane housing market that recognizes the elements of homes that create climate risk and values the characteristics of homes that provide climate solutions. So one of the ways that we do this is through access to data through the Green Building Registry. So if you're interested in learning more about our national nonprofit, you can go to earthadvantage.org. And thank you very much for listening in today. My contact information is here if you have any questions. I would also encourage you to contact your MLS support, and we look forward to you having great success with this new subscriber benefit to you and learning how to utilize this important information as part of your real estate business. So thank you very much. I hope you have a great day.